Hiya, welcome to A Car is Born. This is the differential for my new Cobra, together with a few of the bits of the rear axle. And today I've got to get all this lot underneath my chassis, but that's not all. According to my build schedule, I've also got a petrol tank to fit, a handbrake assembly to put in, 3 pedals to attach, and last but not least, I've got to put the whole steering on. Now, quite frankly, I don't think I've got a hope in hell of finishing it on time. Sorry. First job of the day is the differential. This is it. There are 3 important things you've got to do before actually putting this into the car. The first is, if you haven't driven the car, I managed to drive the donor car, so I know the diff works, but if you didn't drive your donor car, you're going to need to take this back plate off, have a look inside and just check the general appearance of the gears and things inside. And if you're any doubt at all, get it down the road to a garage where a trained mechanic can have a look at it and make sure that it's all okay, because the last thing you want to do is to fit this thing in and then find it doesn't work properly. The second thing is, you then need to prepare it for mounting, and it's going to be mounted by this plate here, which has got 4 holes in, 4 nuts and bolts go through there, and then this carrying bracket, which I've already put on. Now that's attached by spacers here, and it's all a bit offset because the drive shaft will come down here, that's the centre of the diff, but there's more of the gears on this side of the differential than the other, so that's why it's all a bit kind of lopsided at the moment. And the last thing you need to do, and this is a real tip, is loosen off this drain plug here. The first job is to get it into a position. Keep going up. Goodness me. I tell you what, it is very definitely the case that if you're going to build a kit car, my advice is to do it with a friend. Then you can share the cost, share the car, and share all these horrible jobs. Keep pushing, it should go through. Is it going?
Sort of.
I can't imagine how you do this on your own, because how would you hold the top of the bolt and stop it turning while you do this? Got to get that in, whole pile of washers, and this big bolt. Now, goes on there like that. Then I told you this was the difficult bit, didn't I? This is really fiddly. It doesn't specifically say about brute force and ignorance in the manual, but sometimes needs must. This is actually very tricky putting this together because there are so many holes to line up, what with the spacer and the washers and everything else. But it is getting there. Just a little gentle tap. Nope. Well, it's all sorted and now being tightened up and bolted in place, but I have to say I had to resort to a crowbar to be able to get it to fit. But with the help of my friends, thank you very much, we got it sorted. Next is the rear suspension arm. Now this is the original bit off the Sierra. A couple of bushes in the end seem to be okay, so I don't need to change those, but there is a modification, well there are 2 modifications that got to be done to this. First is that this bracket here, which was from the Sierra obviously, gets in the way when the suspension arm moves, so I've got to saw that off. They've got a couple of holes I've got to drill in here to put the damper and the spring in. So first let's hack this off. Now you can do it like this if you want, but there is another way. Do I love power tools? That's the way to do it. If you think building a car must cost the earth, then think again, because Gary Shearing's managed to get a whole lot done with just a couple of grand.
This is a standard Lomax from the factory originally. I've driven 2CV Lomaxes and powered vehicles before, and I thought it wasn't quite enough power. So I decided to fit the GSA 1300 engine into it, which is about 65 brake horsepower in a car weighing about 600 kilos. So the performance has gone up quite considerably. The chassis was originally in Bristol with brambles growing through it. It's a heavier chassis being an Ami Supra chassis. to take the bigger engine. The original running gear is from a Citroen GSA, engine's a Citroen GSA 1300, gearbox is a GSA 1220 gearbox, and it's got ambi-super dampers and suspension. I looked in the local trade-its and scrapyards for what I needed, and this man was selling the chassis to put a 2CV body on it, and he didn't get around to doing it 8 years later. So I went up there and I just offered him a price on the chassis, and he said, take it away. You need to drive the car, a donor car, if you're going to buy it, because the engine is what you really are after. That was all fine mechanically, just a few holes in the floors. I thought, well, I'll buy that, and it was £120 for the GSA. This car actually took me about 9 months to build, this one, only because it's my second car I've built. The first one took me 14 months. Well, I had to learn to spray a car, which I couldn't do. I couldn't weld. I didn't really know about much mechanics of the thing. So when you build a second car, it's easy. You've got the spraying technique, you've got the welding techniques, and you know where to start building a car. This car cost me about £2,000 in all to build. If you buy the kit to package from the manufacturers, it costs you about £6. Spray your own car, make your own seats, which leaves £5. I cost out of a scrapyard, out of a Vauxhall Chevette. You can save yourself a lot of money. They're not the fastest cars in the kit car industry. They're not the best, but they're good fun and they're reasonably cheap to build. I think once you build one or two, you want to build another one. It's like a bug. You think, well, I can improve it next time, or I can do something better next time. And it's a good hobby to have.
While the paint's drying, where I chop that bit off the suspension arm, I'll just fit this shock absorber and spring. There's a bracket up here it goes into. So, just carefully plonk this up. You have to do all this a bit blind, really. The reason this bolt is so difficult to get in is because this is one of the holes that, when they galvanise the chassis, the galvanising zinc fills the hole up a bit, but you can't actually get in there with a drill to drill it out, or a file, unless you've got a very short one, which I haven't. So it's a matter of almost threading this bolt through. It's a bit of a pig. Oh, I don't believe it. I found this bit that I left off, which means I've got to take the whole thing off again now. Here it is, now dry and tidied up, so that's fine. Fits in there like that. Well, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. You know those horrible squeaks that you get when you're driving around in your car and you're wondering where they're coming from? I've just found two places, these two rubber bushes. That's the kind of noise that would drive you insane when you're driving. You'd be bashing the dashboard saying, where is that noise? Well, it's all under here, but I've done it up as tight as I can, so I don't see there's any way that I can stop that noise. Now this, the bottom of the shock absorber now bolts into this suspension arm. Comme ça. It's really nice when you get to a point where you can actually see what it's supposed to look like. And all these lovely bright colours of the shock absorber and stuff. All makes me a very happy man. Let's have a quick check. It's always worth coming back to the manual. And I get very worried when there are letters here, words here that are in capitals, which goes, "You have been warned." Next thing, drive shafts. This is the shorter of the two drive shafts. It's going to go in this side. First thing I'm going to do is put on this back plate, which this holds all the brakes and gubbins on. So that's going to go on the back of there, like that. Okay, then a bit of grease on the end of this shaft. Although my mechanic friend has told me not to put too much on here. Otherwise, it's actually quite difficult when you put it in. It creates a vacuum inside, or pressure inside rather, that pushes it back out again. So you don't want it to be an airtight seal, but just a bit of grease on there. Just put that around there like that. Now, these seem to be okay, but sometimes the manual tells me you have to replace these rubbers and also the universal joints that are in here, both one there and another one down there. May have to be changed in some cases, but I'm hoping they're going to be alright for me. Now, in we go. That way up, through the other. Well, that's it nearly for this side. Just finished tightening these bolts. Then I've got to do the whole thing again on t'other side. So a good time for the end of part one, I think. Join me after the break when I'll be doing the handbrake. Oh, and the steering as well, if I have enough time. Welcome back to A Car Is Born. Now, I had 4 jobs to do today. 1 was to put the rear suspension on, 2 was to put the petrol tank on, 3 was to put the handbrake on, 5 jobs actually, 4 was to put the steering rack on the front, and 6 was to put the pedals in here. So far, I've only done 1 of them, which is the rear suspension. So now I'm starting on the handbrake. And there's the ratchet. This is the handbrake cable. It's shorter than the original Sierra one, so it's a special part that you buy with the kit. And I'm going to put it in from underneath first. Can somebody grab that?
Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
Brilliant, good man. Excellent. Thank you very much. Now, this is going to fit on there like that, but I've got to spread this a bit to make it fit. Then oh no! Just when it's all going so well, I can't get the bolt through. I'm gonna do it. Ah, you see, just a hammer. Perfect. It pays to have very long arms. If this was a cow now that I was pregnancy examining, I'd be holding onto its ovaries. There we are. Done.
Can you lower that monitor down so I can see it?
Yep. I hope you lot appreciate that these are the kind of lengths we have to go to so that you can see what we're doing. That goes through the slot. It's already cut in the chassis. There we go. The other end of the brake cable comes through here, over the top of the diff, around the back of the suspension here, through into this clip, which you can close up completely at the end, and then the whole of this spring end, which will attach to the brakes themselves, goes through the back of the back plate, and there we go. It's worth saying that instructions for how to actually adjust all the brakes underneath and everything is all in the donor manual from the original Sierra, so you've still got to have that handy. Now, next job is these. Going to fix on the pedals, and the reason we've got pedals is because we can't afford an engine. This is the brake servo and the master cylinder, and you'd be forgiven for thinking they're brand new parts. They're not. They came off my donor Sierra and just kind of tarted them up a bit and sprayed them to make them look nice. And this goes through here, like that. And the bolts, which go through, attach this lot, which is the brake pedal assembly. Yeah. Robin, can you just hang on to the servo, mate? It's
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried about this hole here, look.
He said it roughly lines up in the manual. I have just noticed something that I wanted to do but didn't do. I put all that effort in to clean up all the other bits and then respray them, and I haven't even bothered to take the mud off the original pedals. Right, this is the reservoir for the brake fluid that sits on top of the master cylinder, and it goes this way in. It's supposed to be a push fit. There we go. Right, the next job is the accelerator pedal, the one I like. Now it's time for you guys to go to Knock Hill, and I can't think of anything clever to link this accelerator pedal and racing around the track in Scotland, so enjoy. Welcome back to Knock Hill. It's still very windy, and this is my first time out on the track, and it's a bit nerve-wracking, I have to say. So Ian, take me through what I've got to know.
Well, what you've got to do is, we've got to take our time in this first couple of laps. Your steering grip is quite good. I'm going to give you a wee hand. Just brake in a straight line, allow it to turn, get to the apex. Now look through the corner to your exit point and start bringing in the power. Wind out the lock, a wee lift onto a light power and turn. Clip the apex white line and let the car flow 3/4 of the way across the road up towards the chicane. Braking now. Onto the power, clip the curb, turn in immediately for the other curb, and look through the corner and right out to your exit. Wind it out and increase the power. Keep the power going. Just lift off the power, back onto the power, clip the white line there. Oops, that's okay, I'll put my teeth back in again. Braking now, onto the power, lightly with the power, lightly, out wide, use all the road on the outside. Well done.
It all starts to happen really fast, doesn't it?
Keep it going, keep the power down. Keep the power down, keep the power down, keep the power down. Braking now, lightly, off the brake, turn, light power. Increase the power now, you've changed the line a wee bit, just run that curve this time, and you've got to relax in that steering wheel. Yeah. You're fighting against me.
That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Loved it.
Aye.
It's brilliant.
Super.
Can we go out again?
Aye. Before we go out again, we're going to go back, we're going to have a wee talk about a couple of things, and then we're going to go out. As I said, we're going to take it in stages.
Right.
You've brought the same speed on as if you're using all the roads, so obviously the suspension's going over too quick. You're overcoming the adhesion of the tyres and the car's starting to slide. And when you're feeding the steering wheel one way and the other, like that, you can't catch the slide. You've got to have a hands-on position, turning. If there's a wee slide, you correct it as quick as that. The hairpin's approaching. Braking now. Braking, down at the third. Down at the second. Keep it braking, right to the end of the curbing. Turn it in now. Light power. Get right into that apex. Well done. Now start looking out to your exit point and winding out the lock. Wind out the lock. That's good. Well done.
I am cracking on a pace here. I'm putting the steering rack on now. So after that, I've only got one more job to do today. That will all fit kind of like that. Now, attaching the steering rack to the hubs here are things you've probably heard about, even if you don't know that much about cars, track rod ends, because they adjust those when you have your MOT done and things. So this ends up screwing on the end of here and sits into the hub like that. Now the problem is that on the Sierra, this actually comes from underneath, like that, but on the Cobra there isn't room to do that because it all gets fouled up with this lower wishbone, which means you have to do a bit of an adjustment, which is to drill out the top of this hub here with what's called a taper drill, which, as you can see quite clearly there, it actually gets narrower towards the end, and this is a 7-degree one. And basically it means, I've already done it, but you drill down here to a point that you keep checking by putting your track rod end in and then checking underneath with the nut you're going to put on that you want, when it's fully in position, you want about 1 thread below the nut, and then you can finish drilling. Now, for now, this grotty, horrible steering wheel will stay, but fear not, it will be removed. It has to be one of the most awfully designed things in the world, isn't it? It's very embarrassing if you have that on your Cobra. Now, before I can put it in, I have to put a couple of bushes in the bulkhead down here, of which the first one, the rubber one, goes in quite easily, it says. But apparently putting this one inside it is a bit of a pig of a job, and it needs some grease. It says that this is an adjustable bracket, you see, but because the holes have been drilled in slightly the wrong places, You can't end up with your steering column going out the side door. I'll kill the bloke who made this chassis. I will kill him. Now take it all back. The reason that this bracket didn't fit had nothing to do with the bloke who built the chassis, but everything to do with me, because I put it in the wrong place, in the wrong holes. So, sorry, Peter. Then, should be a simple matter. Putting that in there, like that. So once this is done up, you can then actually have some fine adjustment in it that you can move the steering wheel slightly one way or the other, whatever's comfortable and however it lines up with the dash. So it's a fully adjustable steering system.
Where does this go? I'm inside the petrol tank.
Look, when you've been working the kind of hours I've been working, I'm allowed to be a bit stupid now and again, alright? Now, there you go, beautiful. It comes just metal finish. I've done the kind of metal paint finish on it to protect it. So that's all sorted. We just need to bolt it down. There will be a bit of electrical gubbins and so on that we have to put in up here, but I'll do that later. For now, it's just bolting it in place. I'm very, very excited because this is the last of the 6 jobs. So I reckon I've done quite well, really. Well, it's been a very productive day in the workshop, and for the very first time, I actually feel like I'm building my own car. Maybe that's because it's got a steering wheel in place now. So guys, do you want to go for a test drive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Here we go then. Let's start up. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. So accelerating. Turning left. Turning right. And braking. See you next time.